Another 3:30 game that we're gonna have is number 21 Michigan at Nebraska. I this will be a fun one to watch. I think on a secondary screen. These are two solid teams with very balanced, offenses and defenses. I think a key few units to watch. Michigan's defensive line. It's one of the best in the country, honestly, and they've been living in opponents' backfields, generating a lot of pressure on quarterbacks and stuffing the run. That'll be a great test for Dylan Raiola. Or is his name Patrick Mahomes? No, Dylan Raiola. Yeah. But Nebraska's defense is also pretty good, which will be great because I'm looking at my stats here. They allow less than 120 yards per game, and that will be very important to rely on because Michigan loves to use Justice Haynes and their quarterback too, honestly, to run quite a bit. So that's like both the defensive side of both of these teams. The quarterback play for Michigan and Nebraska, they're both smart. They're both trusted by their coaches and their teammates. Michigan's quarterback, Bryce Underwood, he's a first-year true freshman. Dylan Raiola, he's a second year. But he's made a lot of huge strides this year. He has a high completion percentage, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I think Dane Key, the transfer from Kentucky, he's been a huge addition as a weapon for him at wide receiver. Bryce Underwood, he was shaky against Oklahoma. That was kind of his first test. But he has shown many flashes of talent. I don't think this game will be a big, passing performance by either team. But I think whichever quarterback ends up being the smartest, not avoiding turnovers, playing smart football, that's going to be the game. That's going to be the team that wins this game. One of the difference makers, I think, Michigan's been very good in the red zone. They're scoring touchdowns on over 75% of their trips, not just field goals, but touchdowns. Nebraska's red zone defense has been more of a bend but don't break type of thing, but that just means they force a lot of field goals versus touchdowns. I think Michigan's going to be able to punch it in more times than not. And for that reason, I'm going to go Michigan for this game. Based on that, Aaron, do you have any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, sure. I still think Michigan played a tough competitive game against Oklahoma, even though they fell short. And I think they're gonna, keep that high play going. And I'm gonna agree with you. I think Michigan finds a way to win.
Yeah.
Yep. And so then, we move on to our 7:30 game that night. You have number 9 Illinois versus number 19 Indiana. When have we seen, two Midwest teams like this ranked this high?
That's
Like
true.
it's
Yeah.
it's crazy. Teams are evolving. And so a unit that's really really good on Illinois squad is their defense. They've been suffocating teams. They only have given up about 12 points per game. That's that's about where you want your defense to be at a pro standpoint.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so their defensive front, they're a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. They're really physical and relentless. I'm wondering how Indiana's quarterback's going to hold up against that. Fernando Mendoza. He's an experienced player. He can make all the throws that he needs to. He's averaging about 72.4% passing completed this year, and he's thrown 9 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. So seems like a guy who's efficient and makes smart decisions. But he's going to have to be on his A game to beat this Illinois defense. He can't afford to make any mistakes. And then one thing that you have to consider in this game is the offensive line play. This game is going to be one of the trenches. Illinois' defensive line against Indiana's offensive line. If Indiana can't protect their quarterback and keep him relaxed in the pocket, it's going to be a long night for their offense.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams have reliable field goal kickers, so it could be a low-scoring game. And if it is, it could come down to who's going to make those kicks that are 30 and 40 yards, right?
I heard Tennessee had a reliable field goal kicker. We don't have to.
Not a good
We'll talk
look
about
for
that some other
Tennessee.
time.
Yep. Anyway, why this game matters, right? So this isn't just a battle for Midwest pride. It's it's a potential to spring into the college football playoff talks, right?
Mm-hmm.
For Illinois, if they escape with a win this game, on the rest of their schedule, they don't have to worry about Michigan, they don't have to worry about Oregon or Penn State this year. So they only have to worry about Ohio State, which is
Yeah,
a tall task. But
right. They'll
I
have a good
mean,
win on their resume.
exactly. Theoretically, it could be a loss too, and they
Yeah,
can still sneak in.
right,
So
right.
there's that. And then Indiana, they don't have to worry about Ohio State or Michigan this year. Um, Only Oregon and Penn State stand in their way. So these teams have the potential to,
You think one of
come
these are
out of
going to
this
make the
game.
CFP?
Um, I think it all depends on how they, stand up against the rest of their conference play. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody's truly dominant yet, but if somebody shows that they're a dominant team this game and they prove that they can beat anybody in their conference that's mid to lower tier, sure,
Yeah.
they got a shot, But you can never tell when you're playing conference foes and rivals. Yep. So my pick for this game is going to have to be Illinois. I watched them a little bit last year, especially in that bowl game against South Carolina. I
Mm-hmm.
think I like their squad and I like their defense. So picking Illinois. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going to pick Illinois. I think I'm going to go back to defense as well. I think the key stat there is the 12 points per game. That's like a magic number. Like you meant, that's under 2 touchdowns. That is a very suffocating defense. Um, yeah, I don't think Indiana's all that, and I think I think the country will finally figure that out again, again this weekend.